Aren't you ready, Award? And welcome to my review for The Amazing Spider-Man 2. This film has recently just come down in the UK yesterday. I got my chance to see it earlier on today. Now, as the hype of this movie, as the aggressive marketing campaign, the God knows how many trailers and posters and, the in-your-face kind of, marketing for this movie actually paid off. Let's find out with a review for The Amazing Spider-Man 2.
Why did you black out the sun?
Now, Amazing Spider-Man 2 is directed by the same guy who did 500 Days of Summer and, of course, The Amazing Spider-Man, the first movie. I thought the first Amazing Spider-Man film was a pretty good reboot imagining of the actual tale of Spider-Man, because Spider-Man as a character himself is really, such a huge character to explore, especially in the comics. And I've seen the games, I've seen the animations, I've seen the 90s television animated TV show. That was amazing. And to do a fresh new take on the character, and so soon after Spider-Man 3, was a really bold step. And I felt, being the fact that Marvel, the Avengers and Captain America and all these other movies and X-Men were doing so well, it deserved another chance, another fresh perspective look. And I think the direction was really well done in that first movie. I felt it was a good, solid, standalone movie. I really enjoyed it from start to finish. It had some flaws and problems in places with some pacing issues and a couple of things that didn't quite make sense, or they were leaving it to the imagination for the second movie. But I felt it was a pretty solid first movie and I really enjoyed it. Now the sequel's come out, The Amazing Spider-Man 2, it hasn't quite lived up to its hype. And the storyline for The Amazing Spider-Man 2 is set some time after the events of the first movie. Of course, Spider-Man has become like a public figure now, in a sense. He's known, everyone knows, and people are still deciding whether they hate him or like him, kind of thing. And basically, he's kind of conflicted. He's dating Gwen Stacy's character. After the events of the first movie, he shouldn't really date her, and he's constantly going back and forth between, I don't want to lose her, because, he's going to make enemies. There's going to be more powerful people out there, especially villains, that's going to possibly hurt her. And, that's exactly what happens if you've seen the trailers and stuff. And of course, you got a list of, a guest list of villains. You got Rhino, you got Electro and Green Goblin in this movie. The storyline I felt was, if I'm being absolutely honest here, this is my honest opinion, as an actual comic book fan, really enjoys the first Spider-Man movie, and I enjoy comic book movies and stuff like that. I felt this movie was really rushed and was trying to play catch up yet again with the Avengers. It's hugely, hinting on the Sinister Six movie, which I'm hugely pumped for. I'm really excited to see that. I think it's going to be fantastic. But as a movie, as a sequel to the first one, it wasn't focusing enough on it. Now, there's been production problems already we've heard about. If you've seen stuff about, Mary Jane Watson's character seems to be taken out, which is a good choice, I think, perfectly honest, being the fact I've seen the movie now. There's lines from the trailers and certain scenes that were taken away, which again begs the question, why is they taken it out for? It just feels like this script is rushed, the film is rushed, and it just wants to get it out there, out of the way and done with, so we can move on to future content. The fact that they've already announced they're going to do Spider-Man 3 and 4 and a Sinister Six film and a Venom spin-off, they're thinking way too big and way too bold. And it's good to have those ideas, good to have those dreams, and Sony obviously want to do something fantastic and magical, and I'm really looking forward to seeing that. But you gotta focus on your sequel, you gotta focus on your movie. Again, it reminds me of Batman vs Superman, kind of cram in so much going on. It reminded me of the downfalls of Spider-Man 3. Now, I want to say the actual good things about this movie. Now, the good things I felt, character development was excellent. I thought the opening sequence was absolutely brilliant. I love the fact they continued it on Peter Parker's parents, what happened to them, and the expansions and what's actually going on behind the scenes. I absolutely love those explanations. I think Andrew Garfield as Spider-Man, it's a fantastic job. Really funny comedy scenes, well timed, well execution. Some good little hints as well to other Spider-Man related kind of content, which is really funny as well. You got Emma Stone, which is just so attractive and awesome, and probably one of the most refreshing female characters within a super comic book movie I've seen in a long time, for sure. Apart if you count Black Widow and those other badass characters, but as an actual character that knows Peter Parker is Spider-Man and conflicted with this kind of love interest that's going on, I thought the performance was fantastic. I got Jamie Foxx in this movie playing Electro. I thought he did a really good job as the Max character, as this kind of shy, kind of Spider-Man possessed kind of character that just turns into a villain. And I felt he had some really good scenes, had some really good dialogue, but I felt there's moments where he comes off a bit too comic book, a bit too cheesy, it comes a bit too aggressive too quickly, if you know what I mean. I felt the villains in this movie were not quite played as well as I hoped it to be. I mean, you got Elektra's character, which is kind of the main character, the main villain in a sense. I felt they didn't give him enough material. It seems like, okay, here's the setup character, this is Elektra's scene, now we're going to have a scene later on, the finale, where he just blows shit up, and it's kind of like, you know, with Dr. Octopus's character within Spider-Man 2, you had a lot going on with that character, you know, the character which, when I continued his research, you had a lot of conflicting emotions, and I thought that was a really good way to tackle a villain, and it didn't quite pace it enough, and there wasn't enough balance, I think, perfectly honest. I mean, you got Green Goblin's character in this movie also, the guy who played, he was in Chronicle, played Harry Osborn's character. Now, put that aside for a second, Harry Osborn's character comes introduced in this movie, and we get Norman Osborn also. Now, basically in this movie they say Peter Parker and Harry Osborn have been friends way before he went off to boarding school, they've been friends for over 10 years, whatever kind of crap. They basically introduced back into his life, character scene, he gets angry, he gets aggressive, he's dying a bit too quickly, and then it turns into the Green Goblin, and it's kind of like, that's a lot to chew off within a 2-hour movie. Considering we had 3 movies of the first Spider-Man trilogy, it felt like they came friends, enemies, and just like, where the heck did that just come from? It felt too rushed again, and it felt a bit too scripted in places, like they exit one character, they enter the other character, and it's kind of like, do that thing that we've been saying throughout this entire movie? Well, guess what? It's about to happen, and it's kind of like, oh, for God's sake. For me, I felt like Harry Osborn's character was rushed. I think Green Goblin's character was a bit too soon to add in. It would have been a really good hint, a really good teaser if they would have done that maybe at the end of the movie or something. It's obviously leading towards the Sinister Six movie. That's a massive hint in the movie leading towards that, which I'm really looking forward to. But it felt it was just a little gap just to make that movie, and it really annoyed me in that sense. Now, Rhino's character, I can't really say too much about. They didn't really use him. He's kind of going to be, I think he's definitely going to be in the next one from the looks of it for sure. But Paul Giamatti, I mean, I think he was just, again, another cameo. One thing the film had, I don't know if it was a strength or a weakness to be honest, it's a laundry list of cameos, like Black Cat's little cameo, you got references to Dr. Octopus and Vulture, and you got lots of comic book, you know, character references and characters added in, but it feels like you just added in for the sake of adding it in, saying like, we got big plans ahead, future sequels, but not actually focusing on this movie and what it's trying to do. Overall, I did enjoy the film. I thought it was a fun comic book movie. You know, it had a lot of problems. I felt it could have been much better, and the trailers and posters was giving it way too much hype. I do think this is just a bridge gap leading into Sinister Six movie and other future content. I didn't think they paid enough attention to this movie. I felt the script was too rushed. I felt, considering the actors, they did a really good job considering. I thought the cast did a really good job. I thought the character development was really good. I thought the action scenes were really good and fun. I just think the balance was really off guard in places as well. It's just, there's a lot of problems in this movie, and by the end of it, I completely forgot and I didn't care. I mean, I'm talking about it now and I can barely remember. It's just a forgettable movie in my sense. It's a movie which I didn't really need to watch, in all fairness. I might as well just wait for the next movie, the next sequel, because it clearly is more focused on future content than it is on what's happening here. Obviously, this is going to lead into biggest and biggest stuff now. Obviously, we've learned a powerful lesson with Peter Parker and Spider-Man's character, and I thought the comedy scenes, I thought the character development was all excellent. You know, that's just my opinion anyway, folks. That's, you know, take it as you will, in my sense. You know, I'm perfectly honest, I'm disappointed. I expected more. So considering Captain America is #1 on my Marvel movie list of this year, and probably one of my favourite movies since the Avengers, you know, it's pretty hard to top that. That's been my review for The Amazing Spider-Man 2. Hope you enjoyed watching this review. What do you think of the movie? Do you think it's good? Do you think it's bad? You know, let us know your opinions, comment down below. So in the meantime, Andrew from TV. Signing out.